You hear me okay?
Yep, I've just started the stream. Let me
Yeah.
just make a tweet here. Say, while we're at it, I did want to kind of touch on some other stuff right now too. There's a really fun horse news article with one of my arch rivals, and I wanted to read that off at the beginning, unless you really object.
No, I don't care.
Okay, cool. Stream is a go. Woot woot. All right. Let's see if anybody's actually in the stream. Colt Kelly. Oh shoot, I showed up too soon. No, you're fine. I'm assuming that's Camp Kelly down below. This is Shaun Howell. He's done work on Ninja High. You said you did a little bit of design for, was it Shantae or something for art wise?
For way forward, yeah.
Yeah. Um, any other work that you want to plug before we get going that you've done work for, so we know who we're talking to? I mean, I know. I think you're a big deal. He's done great work in the fandom and elsewhere.
Not especially. I'm retired.
Yeah. Well, if this is a bad day, I'm horribly sorry. So let's get to the fun part, everybody. This is FNG Star. Sorry. This is FNGR. And today I felt like reading off this little article here. I could sit there and give whatever I feel that I know is potentially true. It's on Commando Solo, who's basically decided to instead of talking to me, he's actually made his way to talking to my ex. You know, because he's a man, and he's an adult and a professional, and from Hollywood. So, let's read this off. I love Kim Possible's alleged harassing vendors attendees at recent California Brony convention by Twifag. That's Corpulent Brony for everybody who needs to know. Two vendors and attendees report that they were harassed by I Love Kim Possible a lot and her self-described bodyguard, Psy Warrior Jack Noland. At a recent Brony convention, the vendors claimed that they were targeted for negative tweets. They sent the attendee claims that they were targeted because they wouldn't buy her art. I, I don't think she's... Oh, yeah, she is vaguely an artist. Before we get to that story, we'll begin below by reporting on the events that led to these incidences. Who is Jack Noland? While you are likely familiar with I Love Kim Possible Not, or KP, you may be unfamiliar with the name Jack Noland. That's Commando Solo for everybody online on YouTube. I've covered him twice down below. That's okay. We're all here. I don't feel like reading off the real name. His profile on Stage 32 is a 50-year-old actor and author. He served a commission with the 303rd Research and Analysis Company in the 15th Tactical Psi... he's memeing. He's a member of the SAG Afart. I don't get meme culture, so I'm going to try and move on here. And has appeared in the background extra in a number of TV shows and movies throughout the years. He has written a book entitled Firewall, a propagandist's guide to self-defense. And he's also a member of the vaunted Brony analysis community and goes by the name of Commando Solo. I have seen a little bit of the Firewall thing on Amazon, I can confirm. We'll get back to Jack Nolan later, but first, let's get to our alleged harassment victims, KP. If anyone is vending at HRPC Vegas and would like to split a booth for online YouTube promotions of its location, hit me up, yo. Is that High Roller PonyCon? HRPC? Are you there, Sean?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess you're not really big on the convention scene. Horribly sorry. Let's just...
No, I went to the first couple of Nightmare Nights, but you know how impossible it is to deal with the bigger shows, so I didn't feel like expending the energy. I don't have a problem with them. It's just, what are the chances of getting tables at BronyCon or anything like that?
Okay. Pretty good. I've actually heard some fucking... Well, Toon Critic used to get panels, sir.
Well, no, we'll get into this when we start talking, but I should say it would be hard for me to get tables at BronyCon.
Indeed. Okay. So, a brief backstory all about the tweet. On March 20th, I Love Kim Possible Lot sent a tweet asking for people who were vending at High Roller PonyCon to split a booth for online YouTube promotion of its location. She was denied. I don't know why it's crossed out here, so I'm just going to read off anyways. She was denied a booth at the convention in the question in order to get the vending hall and begged a friend to share a table with her. Clarification edit 09, May 2018th. We were just informed that she never actually applied for a vending table at HRPC and instead had applied for a spot as a community guest, but withdrew it after the recent California convention. Recent California convention, was that Babs?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm probably.
I think that was the most recent one.
Yeah, not in fact a good source on conventions, guys. It would appear that she has the intention to either apply for a vendor table. Oh, and if you feel the butt in, just feel free to cough or anything like that. Or do what she did at the California Con. In case was to take a normal attendee badge, but share a table with anyone else. Here are 3 tales of harassments in the victim's own words. The first vendor. So maybe 3 days before the convention, KP put out tweets offering to trade exposure for splitting a table at HRPC. If you'd like to chime in as an artist, Shaun, by all means.
No, that's a meme that's actually making the rounds amongst artists on Twitter, is this entire bullshit about exposure.
Yeah. No,
and it's like, oh, what it really means is, I don't value what you do.
Okay.
That is one of the irritating things is people love art, but the minute they have to pay for it, then they don't love it so much. And there's this persistent attitude that you're somehow demeaning art if you ask to be paid for it. You're not supposed to do this for a living. You're supposed to do it for me, but you're not supposed to do it for a living because that's inconvenient for me.
I know, I understand. For some reason, there are people in the fandom who resent the fact that artists might make money or anybody else might make money. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, they also hate the fact that the grocery stores hide all the food behind a paywall. What the fuck?
Well, I guarantee you Corpulent Brony feels that way.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's just some like fun-loving ribs there, Corp. Anyways, so maybe 3 days before the convention, exposure. Yeah, we stopped right there. I replied to it saying that she knows that tables are expensive. This is a bad deal, warning others not to take it because exposure doesn't pay. It absolutely doesn't.
Also, that is KP really elevating herself. Like, guess what? You're not that big a wheel.
Even the bigger wheels, like I've seen, like Gray Silvermane is like a massive, really talented artist that I've employed in the past, and I've tried to plug them every chance I can, or Dog Eye Crimson, and they're the people in the know they're good, but your average rank and file fan won't remember artists. I mean, let's put it this way, how many comic artists or show artists do you know?
Well, yeah, but I mean, think about it. When you say you're a part of the brony analysis community,
mm-hmm.
That is akin to the meme that was running around on social media, which was a picture from the news of a guy that was listed underneath as expert on garlic bread.
Shaun, there might have been a time where I would have argued with you and got offended. That time is long since gone. Thank you, Toon Critic.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, you provide a service and you make entertainment into a very small niche fandom. This is like being a superstar in the stamp collecting community. Love what you do, but don't overestimate yourself.
Yeah. Okay, I'll continue here. Normally I wouldn't give a fuck about, but with her history of exploiting creators, when she is a creator herself, has sourced my opinion of her, it's one thing to just be an idea guy, not really have a clue as to how much work creating is. It's another to know exactly how much work it is, but fuck over creators anyways. She replied to me saying that she never said she wouldn't pay for the table, which is technically true, but she didn't make that offer to begin with. And
Mm.
I just blew it off because I stopped caring enough to continue the conversation. I considered it done. But I'm free to continue unless did you have something you wanted to butt in there, or?
No, it's just.
I do apologize for my stammering. It's the fault of doing it live.
Oh, no. It's just, I don't know how to respond to people like this because, you're not a rock star. You're popular amongst a group of people, and that's great, but that's as far as it goes.
Well, how big would you say that you have to be on YouTube before you're a rock star?
Please.
Nobody?
YouTube fame is as meaningless as being a brony analysis.
I don't know. After there's a certain point where your money, you're taking home numbers. I don't know. Say like around 10,000 on Patreon a month. I'd say that's pretty good. I'd start to get a massive ego around then.
Yeah, but you have artists on Patreon that literally make $30,000 a month.
Oh no, I forget the name of the artist, but there's one that makes like 20,000 bi-monthly, and I was yeah.
All that means is you have found a select group of people that value you enough to pay you for what you do, but that doesn't mean you're getting invited to the White House for dinner.
Okay, let me ask you this: how many people on like news media could bring home those numbers? Seriously.
I don't know. I actually don't pay attention to that.
Well, it's one of those things when you say, well, it's fleeting. Yeah, you could get kicked off and it could all disappear in a heartbeat. But think about this. How many people in, like, say, like regular TV or in the lamestream media could just, like, pop up and say, okay, give me money?
Yeah, I mean, a handful but that's more along the lines of being an entertainer. Because you could have people, hell, I used to love PBS and the McNeil-Lehrer report. It was very dry and informational, but it wasn't entertaining. It was informative. Now, would you pay for that, or would you pay for like a Greg Gutfeld or somebody that is a showman? I mean, you're using Tucker Carlson's icon. And it's like, okay, he's good at what he does because he's a smarty pants and...
Oh, I'm doing it mostly because of the Kurt Eichenwald drama.
Oh yeah, well, I was throwing some haymakers during that, but,
he trended.
The point is, the United States is comprised of 380 million people.
Mm-hmm.
That is a number so big you cannot mentally visualize it. It's just a concept.
Mm-hmm.
When even 3,000 people do something, it doesn't mean anything. It's still a drop in the ocean. And that's what you got to kind of keep in perspective, is the fact that, okay, just because this is happening, it doesn't mean anything in the bigger picture. Somebody...
We've had two presidents who basically managed to rise to power through the power of the internet. I think that'd be really hard to deny. Would you not agree?
Power of the internet was a contributing factor, but not the sole reason. You had two guys that were smart enough to utilize it. Bush could have done it. Clinton could have done it. Even in the proto-internet of the 90s,
mm-hmm.
Clinton could have utilized it more than he did. Al Gore could have utilized it in 2000, but he didn't. It's just that, okay, Barack Obama and Trump were kind of creatures of that environment. They were already active in social media, so they understood it. And all the future presidential candidates are going to do that. I mean, we've just made that paradigm shift that this is the future. You're going to get people that are a lot more tech savvy and a lot more media savvy, rather than relying on, like, okay, I'm going to go on CNN. That doesn't mean that much anymore. CNN's glory, all of the mainstream media's glory days are past.
No, believe me, I watch Stick, Sex, and Hammer. He says that about the lamestream media constantly.
Yeah, and hell, I cut the cable. I got to a point where I realized I was watching cable to watch ponies and the news. Literally, that was it. And it's like, I don't need to pay for this anymore.
I used to just watch ponies on freaking YouTube for like the longest time.
Yeah, and
yeah, until they start cracking down on that. Thank
well,
God, Daily Motion, guys.
if you know stuff, you know how to find episodes of anything.
So one of your friends will have like a Google Doc or some shit like, not that we would ever support the practice of theft. Cough, cough. Not going to name drop anybody.
Well, I told you about that in the early days.
Go ahead.
Hasbro made a deal with the pony community. Because it's like, okay, they really liked the fact that we were using social media more effective than they were in promoting the show. And not just ponies, but also Transformers Prime and G.I. Joe Renegades and the Hub Network in general. And so they really appreciated that. But they came to us and actually said, it's like, guys, we're trying to make deals to get the show picked up in foreign countries. And if it's available on YouTube, we're not going to be able to. So it'll be the fans overseas that are losing out. So we just asked you, we don't mind you posting the episodes for a few days, but we cannot allow them to stay up. And it's like, okay, deal? Because if they wanted to, they could have just sat an intern at a computer on a Saturday afternoon and just gone through YouTube and just deleted every post, but they didn't. And so fans would post the episode Saturday afternoon, and they would stay up till about Wednesday, giving everybody a chance to see it. And we were all fine with that. But it showed that Hasbro at that time understood to interact with the fans and utilize them. It's like they saw us as a resource. It's like, okay, you guys are doing us a solid. And rather than being like Disney and other companies and just dropping the hammer, they were smart enough, like, okay, no, we'll work with these guys. And they admitted in 2011 that they had an entire division in promotions at Hasbro that just watched the pony community. They listened to what we said. They watched what we reacted to. They kept track of all the fan songs, the fanfic, the art, which was a different beast in those days than it is now. And they worked with it, and everything was fine until Las Pegasus Unicon.
God, I love these stories. And I actually got to talk to Draft about this, I think, and maybe a little bit from Seth.
Oh my God. That was what broke the covenant.
We might have heard about it from Tinker as well. Were you there?
Oh, no.
No.
I figured out it was a scam pretty early on, but we just didn't know the depth of it. And I was more...
pick one. You either have to go back in time to go to Kilroy, or what was it, Lost Pegasus? Which do you think would be more fun? Money's not an object.
Kilroy would mean I'd probably have to talk to Mundane Matt at some point.
Oh, I love you, Shaun.
I would rather go to Las Pegasus Unicon.
Yeah, you'd have the story. Even miserable times are something that you could look back on if you could sit there and tough it out and not just walk away from it and deactivate all your social media. Not name dropping anybody who's done that. Well, certainly not anybody down below in the comments.
Well, Mundane Matt finally had to drop the Mundane moniker and go back to Matt Jarbo. He was so embarrassed by all of this.
I thought he was trying to just get the blue check mark, was what I'd heard from the Bloodsport freaking podcasts.
Oh, the Kumite and Worski?
Yeah, I'm more of a fan of the Kumite than Worski a little bit.
Well, yeah. Well, there's just a lot of fuckery there, but the Kumite is consistently entertaining. Also, I've really been charmed by Vamp Candy.
Oh, who's Vamp Candy?
She has become associated with the Kumite. She's the redhead. And she does a morning show that is better than Failure in the Morning. So I tend to listen to that, and she streams until the Kumite starts, and then she steps back. It's like, okay, I'm going to go join the Kumite chat. Everybody go over there.
You keep impressing me what a magnificent shitlord you are, Shaun. You should definitely come back more often.
The best trolls are the ones who don't talk about their trolling.
Oh no, Shaun is probably one of the Anons fucking with me. Now I have to treat all you people that are screwing with me anonymously politely for fear that I might be fucking offending Shaun. That's bullshit.
I'm not saying that I'm Q, but you just never know.
Yeah, you never know. All right, fine. You've made me a better person to people I don't like. That sucks. The wonderful troll. Let's move on a little bit here. Now, Friday at the convention, I'm setting up my vendor table, and I have two friends helping me out. This man who I described as
Hold on, you have to put friends in air quotes.
Friends in air quotes. This man I can only describe as an exact clone of Daddy Derek. Daddy Derek, please don't flag my channel. From Cool Cats is the same age range of Jack Nolan. Approaches me. I'm told Daddy Derek is a very volatile, angry man.
He sounds like a Broadway show character, though.
Yeah. He's Tommy Wiseau with all the unironic charm.
No doubt saw me in Guys and Dolls.
I'm not fully awake or super busy, so I don't understand what he's trying to tell me. He mumbles something about KP and Twitter. I give him a look like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've managed to talk to one of the people that they got thrown out of the convention, Jay Moore, who used to be KP's head editor. Seems like a nice enough guy, got a bad rap. Seems super polite. I was asking him about prices for editing, and I was like, well, since he said like $80 a video or something like that, I don't want to misquote you, Jay Moore. Feel free to clarify down below. I'm like, well, what about individual special effects? And I think he might have said 5 to 10. It's something I might definitely look into because, I always get people telling me that my editing is shit. Feel free to look through the comments down below, especially for all kinds of other interesting knickknacks that I'm not going to bother censoring. Fuck it. As I just remember hearing what Horse News had on their thing here, you could say whatever you want about us. He mentions that I spoke to KP on Twitter. Again, what? He just tells me I need to talk to KP about it. I thought it was incredibly weird, and it just went back to set up. About 20 minutes later, KP approaches me and tells me that we need to talk. She then begins to defend herself about this tweet. I just smiled and played along to make her go away. I've never had to do that myself. I will grant that she was reasonably polite about it. I just shrugged it off as something, again, really fucking weird, but didn't pay much mind. Now, I'm reminded that this is Corpulent writing this, and I've talked to Corpulent IRL at BC, and he is fairly chill, at least in person. Yeah. If you wanted to jump in?
Well, to get rid of people like KP at my table at cons, I usually use deer urine that you get at the sports shop.
Okay. Is there a special brand of deer urine that repels KP?
No, but I just have a little holdout squirt pistol, and my conventions are usually pretty placid.
Wonderful. I should have been ready for that. I forgot to mention, literally the only time I've spoken to her indirectly, anything at all, was that one tweet. That's it. Apparently, that was enough to send this grown-ass man to me. Which, thinking about it, KP must have told him to look for me because I didn't know this man at all, but he knew my name and what I did to piss off KP. To be fair, Corpulent, you're not hard to find. For the rest of the con, I caught glares.
On Google Earth.
Oh, he's a big boy. I caught glares from KP since I was misunfortunate of vending fairly close to her. I feel like did I screw up this? If it's vending, why would Corp be vending? Maybe they're reading it off. If I'm mispronouncing it, we can verify it later on in the description. Misrepresenting. For the rest of the con, I got glares from KP. I already got this part. He confirmed that I was not being paranoid. Daddy Derek, I believe he's talking about Commando Solo, aka Jack Nolan, almost never left KP's side. He was like her personal bodyguard. I can confirm that I've been told from various sources that he was hired on as a bodyguard, and the weekend went on to get more and more creepy than a man in his 50s was being a personal bouncer of a pony YouTuber. Yes, he's in his 50s. We've checked. What are your thoughts about brony celebs needing personal bodyguards, Shaun?
Again, it's self-aggrandizement.
Now You've been to conventions. How dangerous would you even let's say it's the worst thing ever, like Las Pegasus. How bad would you need even a bodyguard at Las Pegasus?
I would instead spend the money on transgendered arm candy.
Okay. I'm just saying, if you were contractually obligated to be there for whatever dumb reason, you signed something without paying attention.
Well, but it's like, rather than a bodyguard, I'd just rather have someone to hide behind.
Nice. I like that.
Tinker on one arm, Yamano on the other.
The thoughts and opinions of the guest, as much as I love them, don't necessarily reflect the thoughts and opinions of the pod. I love you, Tinker. Full respect. Reading off KP's tweet here. If anyone is vending at HRPC Vegas and would like to split a booth for online YouTube promotion of its location, hit me up, yo. Horse News, I'll pay you an exposure. Ha ha ha. I've expected either Tinker is super busy, forgot about me, or basically realized I talked to Draft just because I was told not to. It's so hard. Yeah, once you're told not to do something, you have to do it. No, don't talk to him. Oh, that sounds juicy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, second vendor. Yeah, it was probably someone other than Corpulent. Sorry for misrepresenting you, Corp. So about 2 weeks ago, Horse News posted this on Twitter. Let's take a look at the tweet. Oh yeah, they're alluding to the "I pay you an exposure" that I already paid off. I replied to, "Wow, this is kind of fucked. It's not much of a split. It's not that much to split a table. That was it. I didn't think much of it at the time, and I almost forgot I even tweeted it. Friday morning of the con, I was setting up the table, and I have a guy, Jack Nolan, come up to me and tell me that KP's table was to talk about something. Honestly, I was kind of shocked. I have no idea that she wanted to talk to me about what she wanted to talk to me about, and I was really confused. I had no idea that KP even knew who I was. I did one drawing for her channel a few years ago, but nothing that she would remember me by. This isn't Bayfish, is it? Oh, sorry, Bay, if it's not you. I'm sure it was her staff or something who asked her for the art anyways. They asked me if I could make them more, but I just never responded since they seemed unprofessional and unappreciative for the free work. This was before the KP leak thing happened, and I did lots of art for pony YouTubers at the time, so I didn't think much of it. I asked him what about, and he said some tweet that you made about High Roller PonyCon. I was surprised. Sorry, this one's really kind of dull, and not to shit on the person who wrote it. I get. Yeah, I am. I totally am. I was. Yeah, I can't have it both ways. I can't be like, I don't mean to be a dick to you. Yeah, I am. I was surprised that she even mentioned the tweet, and she went out of her way to look at Horse News' Twitter and find me in the mentions, and decide to come. I'm assuming her staff looked at the Horse News Twitter, decided to come find me a con. I just told him I don't want to talk to her. I think I did cover this actually in the tweets. Anyways, he just said okay and left. I went back to the post and deleted the tweet because I was worried about drama coming to my table. I regret this now. Obviously, I never thought this situation would blow up the way it did. This was my first time vending at a convention. The last thing I needed was that. I wanted her to just leave me alone, to be honest. 4 hours later, while I was working on a commission, KP came up to my table saying that she wanted to talk to me about the tweet I made. I just looked at her and said, I don't want to talk to you. She kept asking me why, and I said, I really don't want drama at my channel. I'm working. And she kept saying why with me, responding, I don't want to talk to you. She wouldn't leave me alone until I said, I'll think about it, and she stormed off. Yeah, I did cover this. I remember the I'll think about it until getting her to fuck off. Any thoughts?
No. Look, KP is amazingly uninteresting. And it's just, okay, KP caused some drama, and?
Okay, we'll tell you what, we'll skip past this attendee thing. You know what, I could always come back to it at a different show if I need to. This talks about her bodyguard, this PsyOps warrior. I was going to
say, didn't you already talk about this? I swear I've heard this story already.
I don't know, I wanted to kind of look through and see if how much they were screwing around here. No gatekeepers exist to prevent this, da-da-da-da. You know what? I'll just put a link to this in the description so we can move the hell on to your story.
Oh, it's not me. Oh. It is about a community greater than myself.
Indeed it is. Paste. There you go, guys. If you want to go check out the Horse News article, by all means. Okay, well, take it away.
Well, I don't know.
He rum rushes me to get off the horse news article. He's like, I don't have anything.
That's like saying, like, oh, he asked me to take the knife out of his leg. What's his deal?
Okay, well, all right. You said KP was horribly uninteresting in the analysis community. What name would you consider to be interesting to you?
None of them. None of them. The greatest days of this community are gone. I mean, it was interesting. Oh, okay, look, I covered this last time. That you have a fandom when the fans are disparate and need a place to congregate together to enjoy something together. No matter what. Star Trek, Lost in Space, Sherlock Holmes, ponies. It's like, okay, a bunch of people enjoy something and they gather together to enjoy it together. But you hit a point where whatever it is becomes so mainstream, you don't need a fandom anymore. There's a big difference between Star Trek fandom in the 80s and Star Trek fandom 10 years ago. Because it's like, well, now Star Trek is so mainstream, there's no need for a fandom. You have resources everywhere, and that's the way Ponies is. The thing I enjoy more is the various podcasts of just people coming together to jack around and shoot the shit and talk about how they enjoy the show. I'm less interested in analysis because most of the analysis is bias. I'm looking at you, Jerry Pete.
Hey, as much as problems as I have with Jerry Pete, I like the psychosis of it. I like how batshit crazy it is. It's fun. It's whimsical, is what it is. I feel that works pretty good.
He has a Christian quality to him. Yeah, that this is just this psycho sitting in a room alone talking to himself, and we're supposed to pretend to be interested. And it's like, no, I'm here for the train wreck. I don't care who's driving the train. And that's the problem with the community, is like most of the old timers left for a reason. Because they're like, okay, I'm not needed anymore. Digibro moved on. Tommy Oliver moved on. All of the old folks were like, there's no need for this anymore. And they were smart enough to realize that.
Well, Josh Scorcher's making like $1,400 on Patreon right now.
Who cares?
How much would it be enough to be who cares?
Yeah, that just, again, means he has found an audience that are willing to pay him for what he does, and good on him. But that doesn't mean anything more than that. If an artist... Okay. I marveled years ago, and please forgive me, I cannot remember this guy's name, but me and Agouti Rex and Point were marveling at this guy on Patreon. He's a furry artist, and he does a comic about a guy who convinces a girl to live with him over the summer. Right? And the entire comic is just him feeding her. He makes meals for her. She eats them, gets a pooky tummy, goes to the bathroom, and then he makes another meal for her. And that's not an exaggeration. This entire thing is just an eating fetish comic.
Okay.
He makes $20,000 a month off this.
A pooky tummy. What is that?
Just kind of chubby.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's shout out to yeah. People are probably not going to believe me. There's even your Uncle FNGR. There's some shit even he doesn't know.
but that's the point, and it's this guy makes $20,000. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means he has found enough people to pay him to do this, but it doesn't mean this is a huge fetish. It doesn't mean this is a trend sweeping the internet. It doesn't even mean it's interesting.
Well, the more uninteresting and more secure, you have to pay more for it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're the artist.
I mean, so you just kind of take everything in context. If you're a fan of something, search around and gravitate to that area that makes you comfortable and hang out. But you don't owe anybody anything. we don't need superstars in the fandom, and that's a sure sign that a fandom has worn out its welcome is when you start getting celebrities in it.
Wait, Event Horizon here is a very talented musician, artist to varying degrees. He's done the panels and whatnot. What do you think of the superstars in the Brony analysis community event? I'm sure you have a mouthful to levy on that.
Who, me, or is there someone else in the
stream?
Yeah,
I just chucked in Event Horizon. He's a...
Oh, it's Shaun. I remember you.
Howdy.
Oh, how do you know Shaun? From the furry fandom or comics?
Oh, no, no, different Shaun. Never mind.
Oh. I probably owe him art.
I'm disappointed now.
Oh, I remember when you were talking to KP staff. Shaun, my love. Yeah, you were thinking this was Anon KP.
Yeah. No, never mind.
Yeah, I don't hobnob with
slobs. Because I saw like Jay Moore's name keeps coming up in my life for some reason. I don't know. People are talking with him again, so I'm like, oh, then it's Shaun, but it's not Shaun. Never mind.
Yeah. I meant Event I found out about Event Horizon during the massive KP add-on link scandal, and his video when he was just sitting there playing a game was like particularly scathing, and I was like, my god, this guy'd be great to hang out with. I bet he could do some damage.
Actually, that wasn't me playing the game. I had to take that gameplay footage off of some other YouTube video because I don't even play games.
Okay. Oh, quick shout out to Leo Convoy's super chat so I don't break terms of service. I have a structured settlement, need cash now. Lol, funny meme. There we go. I don't want to act like I'm ignoring my super chats. Even Medicare sits there and he'll spend 2/3 of his podcast reading them off if he has to.
Da-na-na. Super chats.
Damn right. They work pretty good. Fuck.
I think it's a good evolution for these sort of things.
Damn right. When you got to get the streaming event, I'm sure you'll get people fucking goddamn will want to hear you snark and make fun of the audience, and you'll be able to provide some money.
I mean, my stream hating on the Secret Rift and everything it stands for and does in Toon Critic did fairly well.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see that one?
Yeah, we'll go back and definitely give it a look. Well, throw me a link. I'll fucking throw it in the description. Shit.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, why the fuck not?
Yeah,
it's just basically like me and some of my friends just shitting on the Secret Rift for how terrible they handled the Toon Critic thing.
If I'd have known about it, I'd have jumped on it sooner.
You don't pay attention? Even KP still pays attention to my channel. I'm so offended.
Well, okay, I'm just stating for the record I didn't cover up fucking Toon the minute I found out. I had to scrap two videos I never fucking even got to. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I didn't care. I didn't listen to the call. I was like, I don't care.
It was a really boring as shit call. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
That's why. Yeah, that's why I wasn't gonna listen to it. I was like, I'm sure the things that his friends are going to do afterward are going to be much more entertaining.
But did you have a particular favorite event?
Hold on. Was it? I think my favorite was, I don't know. I'm stuck between like Golden Fox or like Mad Munchkin. Because like with Mad Munchkin, I feel it was like, who invited you? I mean, like,
she did collab with him.
I was like, who's talking? Like, who's talking about you? You know? But I guess she was like, she's thinking like more of herself than what she actually is, and she was like, oh no, I have to defend myself, but nobody was even like thinking about, like, no one was pointing fingers at her.
Well, if you look at the recent DA rant drama thing with Pentagrin, it just seems that Scottish people really suck at online drama. If you have like tens of thousands of subs and you're Scottish and there's drama going on, you need to shut up. It's just not going to work out for you.
Hold on, let me get the.
Did you want to butt in while we're going back and forth, Shaun, or I don't want to feel like we're getting run over?
No, I wanted to ask you a question though.
Me?
FNGR.
Absolutely.
What kind of reaction are you and your doings getting in the pony community? Because I watch them and enjoy them, but is this sort of like the Kumite that you're building an audience that are also seeing the drama and want to be kept up on it, or do you just have a small core audience, or what?
Well,
yeah, your channel passed mine. It's not fair.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, you know what, if you'd have kept after it, you'd have beat me. There are plenty of people who are infinitely more fucking talented than me. The fact that I'm beating, like, Ryan Reno Mills, if he fucking stayed motivated and kept doing his shit, he'd be beating the brakes off of me.
But no, this isn't a matter of talent. It's a matter of, you're filling a niche. The covering the drama and doing it in an interesting and informative way, you're fulfilling a service. And I'm wondering how people are reacting. People in the pony community are reacting to that.
I don't actually, and I don't mean to berate event. I don't hate the pony community.
Oh, I do.
Oh, you.
Why don't you?
I want you to buckle up for the next video. Oh boy, that is gonna go. I'm about to get myself into some trouble. So who here's did you see Sega Sisters video on the Toon Critic thing? Or Patchwork Arts?
Who, me?
Either of you guys. They're
No.
I finally got around to seeing them. I felt kind of obligated. I felt intrigued. I felt tickled after those two decided to butt into some kind of relationship problems I had, and after looking at them, I'm like, why are you guys victims? And I went through piece by piece, and it's... So, for what I understand in Patchwork Heart's case, she's like, I wanted to do anything I could to hang out with horse famous people, and I even had to have erotic roleplays with Toon. And I'm like, the way you're explaining it, and since you're of age, that doesn't mean you were groomed, that makes you a whore.
That is just sad on so many levels.
Well, Shaun, am I wrong?
No.
Okay. And here's the whole thing.
I mean, the point that somebody wanted to hang around with people that are horse famous. We're back to the expert on garlic bread thing.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know why anybody would conceivably want to date someone just for horse fame. There's nobody.
If you're stupid, I understand it.
Yeah, there's nobody in my comments right now that would have ever possibly wanted to do that.
Horse fame is made up. It's just,
well, if you want to be hypercritical, Shaun, tits are just sacks of fat. Money's just paper. I mean, if you want to boil everything down to its core components, you could take all the magic out of life.
When you walk outside of the fandom and say horse famous, people just stare at you. They have no idea what you're talking about. They don't know who KP is. They don't know who Tinker is. They don't know any of these people, and they don't care.
Okay, well, look, as much as I like Tinker, there's a very, very small niche of people. Like, I have to keep explaining to people, who the fuck is a... Yeah, I'd say that to Jay Moore, and he's like, who the fuck is that? I was like, she founded BronyCon. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm like, well, I respect Tinker infinitely more than fucking KP. That's for damn sure.
Oh, so do I, but it's like,
Who the hell is that?
Purple Tinker founded BronyCon. We had her on Sheldon's original podcast a long time ago. She was a hoot. She came on with Rare Fact from Horse News. She was just a blast. She sat there and started talking about how even at the beginnings of the early fandom that there were different factions and little fiefdoms and everybody clashed with each other. So any of that bullshit, we're going, can't we go back to the good old times? She's like, no, that's bullshit. There was never a time where we were all united. That's complete mystery bullshit. I don't know where it even comes from.
Well, it's just the tribalism. But the thing with Tinker is, my policy is whether I like you or not, I accept you for the good and the bad. Tinker's done a lot of good, but she's also done a lot of shitty stuff. And she's always going to be dogged by the shitty stuff she's done. That's life. You're not going to escape that. So you either nut it up and just accept that it's like, okay, I have stepped on my dick a couple of times in the past, but I've moved beyond it.
I do like fucking focusing on the good in people. There's people right now I know are having a go at me, but they've been very fucking useful in the past. Event right now, I could sit there and forgive him until the heat death of the universe just because I know that there's greatness in this man. I don't have to have him on here. I want him to succeed. And you could choose to believe me or not, but I do mean that.
I'm working on stuff.
Yeah. Don't delete it this time, please. I will pay you so much just to fucking put it out there. You could always get better at it.
Yeah, what are you talking about, the KP video in particular?
Somebody mentioned from your group that you were really deep into your thing, and you did like a death clock where you're just like, I'm going to delete it. It's not good enough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to give you the stream link. Hold up.
Yeah.
This one is great. I mean, I think you're personally going to enjoy it. Hold on.
Well, I don't hate. I think Golden Fox is a okay guy. You know, I think Keyframe is
Golden Fox is gay.
Okay, thoughts and opinions of Event Horizon. Lightning Bliss has been fucking really receptive to all criticism. She put up with way more crap than I would have. I'd have told me to fuck off like halfway there. So no, I think she's been a complete fucking good sport. I deeply appreciate it. When I had to ask about the drama with KP, and I started up a call, I was like, hey, could I borrow you for a minute? She popped in, and she didn't have to. She absolutely didn't have to talk to me. There wasn't anything that wasn't redundant information, so I didn't directly cite her in the video about that.
I still think she's a tool.
Well, she cared about you when you were going through some stuff, and she's like,
I did appreciate. I still say this every now and then. I did appreciate the art that she made of me. It was totally unexpected.
Yeah.
I still have it and appreciate it. Well, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to anybody recently, so I like my status on everybody kind of has to reset because I have to see what they're doing now.
Yeah. Okay, look, I think Lightning Bliss as a person is pretty cool. Her stuff is aimed at a younger audience, and it's more girly, and it's just not for me. That's you could say that's me being hyper-political, but look, if someone's going to pay me respect, I'm not going to turn around and shit in their face.
But it's tailor-made for mundane Matt.
I've seen his falling out with the Kumite and shit. That kind of hurts.
Oh, just more than anything.
Yeah, grab Event Stream and chuck it in the description really quick. Event.
There's a lot of people who are not going to like it, by the way.
Horizon MLP.
All the more reason to do it.
Ah, jeez.
As Abby Hoffman said, "'Tis an ill wind that blows no minds." You got to keep stirring the pot.
Are you back in the Secret Rift, FNGR, or is that?
Oh no, I totally went back after I realized I left, and then basically, we handled that too. What happened originally is that there was some shit that happened with my ex, and basically we both winded up leaving. And after I had gotten my way back in, a bunch of the goddamn mods who, even the person who was in charge of the room were liked buttons. So we wanted to sit down and talk with her as mods, and she also wanted to talk to Lightning Bliss. And Bliss is bending over backwards to fucking goddamn give buttons closure, and she's just not having it. And that's why she didn't get back in. That's the extent of the abuse that the Secret Rift has done to buttons. That she left and they didn't put her back in. That's literally it.
Oh, well, I still want to destroy the Secret Rift.
Well, you know what?
Even though I'm not going to do anything about it at the moment.
Well, we do need a Vita, and because our Vita isn't really going after the Secret Rift, he doesn't care. So, you know what? It's what do you call it?
I mean, you guys could totally add me back in, but I mean, there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to like it.
Well, we never threw you out, for the record.
I know.
I would probably.
I'm sorry, like freaking what Finn said about like a particular episode being perfect. I was just like, no, I can't do this anymore.
Well, he is a happy, glowy guy. Like, say what you will, if you find it.
Yeah, I hate him for it.
Look, when I was drinking with like the people back in Limbo, and it was like a week before the fucking Toon Critic shit happened, and everybody knew but me, and I'm sitting there just spilling my guts out to Kichi. I was like, what would have been cool? It would have been super badass if Toon Critic acted like Finn. And I remember Kichi going, that would be cool. And I could just tell they was probably killing her that they had to shut up about it. That's the way I like to picture it. Sorry for being somber and a downer, but I'm such a fucking mood kill. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, if you guys want, I mean, totally, you can just like throw me in without even me knowing. I'll check Skype, you know.
Right. Yeah, no problem. I'll try and tweet at you or some shit. So why do you got a dip event?
Yeah, I have to go work.
All right, no problem, man. Godspeed. Take care.
You only do this on my work days. It's not fair.
I wish you and the missus all the best, event.
All right, thank you.
God bless.
Later, fam.
Later, fam. He's got a lot of baggage like me.
Well, that's a good thing.
Thank you.
I mean, this is a point I was trying to make earlier, is what a lot of the brony analysis community is lost is just the simple act of being interesting. And I don't mean being outrageous or, being a spectacle. It's just having something to say in an interesting way.
What are you saying? That was like
There's
Digi and
bunches
Tom
of,
or what?
well, I mean, but there's bunches of casts that are just a group of friends hanging out, and it's entertaining to listen to. And it's not a cult of personality thing or anything like that. And that's what I think the future is. Because, you can only listen to Silver Quill being a retard so long.
Did you know how we cut ties?
No.
Okay, so we were doing well enough, and I got to give him this. The last podcast he came on, it was for Gray Silvermane, and he's like, "I'll do it for Gray," because I could tell I was probably getting too deep into drama, and he was getting more and more annoyed with me. I had a side channel called Analysis Daily that I don't like enough analysts, and of the 4 I watch, one of them's a complete penis. Hi, Commando Solo. I do respect he's good at it, but
hello.
No, I'm just saying hi to Commando, so I'm giving him a shout out.
Oh no! Yeah, I'm all alone.
Yeah. Well, Shaun Howell is an amazing person too. But, I lost my. Yeah, no, I remember now. Is it Silver Quill started a series called Silver Quilted, where he wiggles around a plushie while giving analysis.
Yeah, that's not the slightest bit retarded.
And that was my whole thought. And I basically, during when I was doing one of the awards things, where we're fucking saying who's the best of like whatever tournament setup I was doing, I was like, you'll never see Silver Quilted on this fucking channel. That's embarrassing and cringy, and I'm not going to endorse it. And wouldn't you know it, he took exception and said, I would like to thank you not to have me on your channel. Don't expect to see me on your podcast anymore. And I was like, hey, are you going to give Okizuma the $450 back on Patreon that I've been shutting up about since you've been coming on my show? No?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, no, don't be a dick to me. You fucker. Oki didn't even care that bad. Oki's a complete fucking sweetheart. He's given like oodles and oodles of money from everyone around the damn fandom.
But that's what I mean. It's like he used to just do a relatively interesting cast, but then you get into that cycle where you have to do this. You're not doing this out of love anymore. You're doing it because it's a job. And he's feeling the heat, and I've got to be interesting, so he comes up with a gimmick. And a lame gimmick at that.
There have been weeks where I didn't love what I was doing, and there have been times where, like, after I put it out and said, yeah, now it's good, and sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes when you fly by the seat of your ass and you're trying to get out a fucking video and you look back and going, not my best work.
Yeah, well, that's an obligation.
Yeah.
I go through that too. It's like some days I don't feel like drawing, but I have to. Got to make good on my clients, and it's just not working today, but you just power through it and like, well, the next one will be better. That's all you can do.
I don't know, I just had something completely lose my thought there.
Well, I mean, it was funny because I went back and watched a lot of the videos about the hacks and the email leaks from Hasbro and the season 8 and 9 and the G5 stuff. And somebody did bring up a salient point. I think it was on MLP Cast that now all of a sudden everybody is re-energized, whereas just a week before, all the boards are like, okay, well, it's the heat death of the fandom. We're done. And, there's nothing more to talk about. And it's like, well, I just wish it would end. I want the ride to be over. I'm bored with it. And then all of a sudden they got something that got them going again. But that actually is kind of instructive. It's like, okay, you're bored with it because you don't need the fandom anymore. You watch the episodes and enjoy them. Have you noticed that the merchandise has really tapered off?
I usually don't keep track of that. I did catch the first episode or two of the season 8. I liked it. I like the school theme, especially since, again, I discovered your work around the same time I picked up Ninja High. I like the cheesy bullshit of like, oh, cool, it's kids in school dealing with bullshit. It's just something that fucking, clicks with me in, like, animation.
The rumor was, years ago, that after season 6, Hasbro was actually sweating what to do, because by that time, you've done everything you could do with the characters. They honestly did not anticipate the series running much beyond Twilight becoming an alicorn. Okay, so they were kind of caught flat-footed because Studio B, now previously DHX Animation, hadn't really planned that far ahead. Like, what the hell do we do? So there was talk of time skipping it, and actually using all of the CMC and their little school friends. It's like, okay, we will age them up to, young adult status, the way the main 6 were in the first season. And it will be these characters learning their lessons and the same sort of shit you deal with, just like the original characters did. And, that's not the way things went. We have the Academy, which is like, okay, if you write and create stuff, you look at this and you see this is people trying way too hard. This wasn't like Lauren, who had a vision and a good idea.
So you didn't like the season 8 premiere?
Oh, no, not at all.
Oh.
It had its fun moments, but I hate the Academy.
I hated the villain was fun, but the idea, the fact that Twilight just didn't know who the fuck it was, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, I mean, much like with a lot of stuff, just all of a sudden, Twilight has been Flanderized. And she's just going to sleepwalk through the remaining episodes. Nothing interesting is going to happen with her. She's going to run her school. She'll do the adventure things, but you're not going to have anything on the order of Feeling Pinky Keen or Lesson 0.
So you totally didn't like season 7's final. I thought it was great. I thought it was the best damn episode I ever saw.
It was okay.
They crammed everybody in there. They gave something for everyone to do. It managed to freaking live on the concept of the show. We got to see freaking Star Swirl. It's like, I always thought that when they talk about, ponies back then, it's like, and he's a dick. I always thought he would have been.
The problem was that was rock stupid Twilight. Even as an outside viewer.
Okay, no. When you're talking to one of your heroes, hi, by the way, it's a different thing. It's totally
no. I'm talking about before they pull everybody out of the warp. It's like, this great evil they were fighting disappeared at the same time that the pillars disappeared. There couldn't possibly be a connection with that. And the fact that pulling the pillars out might pull the evil out with it?
Okay, I can explain that from a brony analysis community. There's plenty of people in the fandom who only focus on the good and not think about the backlash of their actions. They'll think in the short term. Is Twilight the kind of person who sometimes focuses on the good and doesn't think of like all the tactical downsides of shit going horribly wrong? Yeah, I thought that was believable. I could BS that. But if you can't, that's fine.
But you had Glimmer actually being the voice of reason in that episode. It's like, okay, maybe we shouldn't be doing this? Nonsense!
Well, that would have been Spike if it wouldn't have been Glimmer. So.
And where the fuck were the alicorns who were there when this happened and could have told the main 6? Oh, there's a reason the pillars aren't around anymore. It's like, well, what was this your little secret?
Okay, I'll just say consistently how useful have the alicorns been since the beginning of the show.
Well, and that is a reason why I have
You talk about Faust's original vision, there it is. I'm still, yeah.
I have been iffy on everything since season 4.
Okay.
And I speak as one who really enjoyed season 6 a lot. But it's just they've lost focus of what Lauren had set up. And they keep doing stuff that, it's like, this just doesn't make sense by what you've told us previously. You set up something, and now you're telling us something that kind of flies in the face of that, particularly where the Celestial Sisters are, and just the whole alicorn nonsense. And it's like, but it's Hasbro's deal. Now, have you read the
show Bible?
No, the G5 leaks.
I know very little about it. The fact that they're going to turn freaking... I've never been a big Applejack fan, so I don't care what they do with her.
Background pony?
Yeah, background pony. Never cared for. Never had much of use for truth.
Well,
that's the joke.
Yeah, but it goes beyond that in that it was like I was saying about Mundane Matt, is Hasbro now has never had ponies be popular the way it is now. Oh, it was popular in previous iterations, but I mean nothing to this degree, and they are drunk off the money. And they're like, okay, what do we do to maintain this? Like, you're not going to be able to. It's like Generation 4 was a fluke. You hired somebody who was very talented and had a vision. She pulled in all the talented people she knew.
Okay.
And really crafted this show. Right place,
so
right time.
What has been invented? What has been as bad as a Canterlot wedding? What has been as bad as Cadence since season 2? I'd like to know.
That is a tough question.
Yeah, I think you got the nostalgic Alex on. Let me just read off a super chat really quick. Mario Alvarez, if they would have done the original idea of aging the CMC, it would have been interesting. I would have loved to have seen that as a writer. Yeah, I think I would have been down. I'd be cool if that was Gen 5. They just age jumped everybody. That'd be neat.
Yeah. You had the characters established, and just roll with that. Oh, and on a side note, I really fucking hate what they did with the CMC.
Hey, at least they kept Applejack's parents dead.
Yeah, it's like, we're experts in cutie marks. It's like, what could be gayer than that? Seriously. That was such a fucking cop-out. Oh, and to answer your question, the thing worse than a Canterlot wedding is Starlight Glimmer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Magical Mystery Cure.
No, that was lame, but Starlight Glimmer doesn't work on so many levels because her reveal of why she was willing to destroy the universe, was so petty.
Do you know why Lily Pete's trying to destroy Josh? Because he won't be his friend. That's how people work. There are my ex right now is trying to bring me down because I dumped her.
She's not trying to destroy the world, though. She's trying to take you down. That's the difference.
She's tweeted at Medicare to come after me, and she's living, walking, breathing Tumblr, Shaun.
But the thing is, Glimmer was so psychotic as a villain. And don't get me wrong, I liked her as a villain.
Yeah. I think she has moments.
Her taking her heel turn did not work. Essentially, it's like after the first time jump, she should have realized, like, now you understand the main six have actually prevented the world from being destroyed several times. You understand this, right? And that if you fuck with that, there's going to be consequences. Okay, fine. So she's a crazy bad guy. I could live with that. But then at the end of the episode, for Twilight to just give her a strong talking to and a handshake and pull this back, it's like, it did not work. And that was why you had so much controversy, because that was, if you had something like, Twilight took her to the future and showed, it's like, this is your future. This is what you're fighting for. It's dust. There's nothing left to hate. And that made no impact on Twilight. I mean, on Starlight. She's just like, oh yeah, well, that's your story. Like, what the fuck is it you want?
There are some really irrational bronies. The fact that you don't buy this means you're not familiar with the fandom, Shaun. I think there are dumb enough people who would kick over the fucking chessboard just because they're not winning and they're not getting their way.
I'm not talking about the fandom. I'm talking about the people creating the show.
I know, but okay, well, that's my perspective, though. That I look at the show and I'm like, can I find this in the fandom? Final Draft, for example. If I can't run Everfree Network, no one will. I'm like, yeah. Starlight Glimmer. I won. Thank you.
but that's the point, and it's like they could have handled it better. Rather than giving her the whole thing with the time spell, if you wanted to rehabilitate the character, fine. But she was going about it. Her scheme made no sense. Even if you're crazy, you had to understand, after the first time jump, that it's like, well, this is going to be a problem. Oddly enough, as they pointed out, it's like somehow Flim and Flam strip mining.
No, it started to get
Sweet Apple Acres.
It started to get really dumb and retarded. Some of those were fun.
Yeah, but it's
Sombri's future was let me do a quick shout out here to Sam, your coloring guy. Sam Outline, make sure to check out Shaun's art colored by me. Now, Sam, I would go to DA real quick and slap that link in the description, but there's a chance that there might be something that's not YouTube.
But it's DA.
Yeah, I will definitely make sure to put it in the description.
Oops, and I'm alone again.
Oh, no, I'm here. Can you hear me? Shaun? Copy? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. The minute that happens, somebody sends me more money. The first world problems of it all, Shaun. By the way, do you want any of this? If Gen 5 is looming, does that Gen 4 is coming close to its Season 8? Season 9, actually, Guitar Wolf. Or are you going to squeeze out one more season of Season 4? Yeah, they are going till 9. There's actually, I think they did announce it. I forget the exact, 2019 is Gen 5?
That was in the leaks.
Yeah, I read that.
We already know what happens in Season 9.
Well, it's not like, Hasbro's ever had to move around their scheduling before, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's not her herself, it's how they handled it. And I speak as someone who writes. I've had to write a lot of stories and a lot of characters. Mm-hmm. And there's really no reason for bad plots. If you just take a moment and think it through, you can justify stuff better. You can make it smoother. They didn't have to go with just suddenly, here's the last episode, and here's Starlight Glimmer gloating in the chair. It's like there was almost no setup to this. You got glimpses of her in previous episodes, but that was it. And it's like, no, there should have been Twilight and company running into Starlight again and getting some hint that it's like she's up to something, rather than just, here it is, last episode. Because Hasbro has a really bad habit of that, like waiting till the very last minute, like, oh shit, we have to wrap this up, don't we? Like, yeah, you do.
Well, that's strange. I hate to butt in here. My ex sent me $1 in Super Chat, but there's nothing on it.
Dun dun dun.
No, I swear to God, I will screen cap this to prove that there is nothing here.
You want me to call FNGR a chowderhead? I'll do it for $1.
Sure. All right, here you go. There's all 4 of them. She's Cookie Star at the bottom there, and there's nothing next to what she sent. I'm a bit confused. I don't want to feel that you got ripped off, as I'm not trying to use and abuse the super chats at all.
Hey, let me see that parade of Washingtons, and
yeah,
I'll tell them how dumb he is.
Actually, I'm not shocked she's here. She's a furry, and you're a big goddamn deal in that kingdom, so that makes sense why she's here. Yeah.
I really reject that.
What? I think you're a big fucking deal. Deal with it.
Well, that's very charming of you, but I never want to fall in the mode where I start believing that, because in that way lies madness. I am. You actually have a ranking thing for activity on Fur Affinity, and it's how you calculate who's a poppy fur and who isn't.
You know who used to fight against the fucking the tiers of bronies constantly? It offended him to no end? Toon. Toon hated the term S-class brony, and I said, I'm the one who's keeping it alive. I loved the tiers. I loved the structure. I like the hierarchy. I like all the bullshit. It's not working anymore.
And this brings us back to what I originally wanted to talk about,
Yeah.
and that is the first year of the fandom.
I do want to get to this. Is it? I understand what appeal to authority is. It's basically believing somebody just because they're a big highfalutin thing. It's a logical fallacy, but the fandom loves that. There's nothing I could do that would stop people from subscribing to appeal to authority. And I'll admit, I'm just as guilty as anybody else. Yeah,
that's the thing. Invariably, all tyrannies fall. You will hit a point where these people just hit that point where they fuck up. I mean, it happens time and time again in fandoms and in politics and in just social things, where you just find out that your heroes have feet of clay, and that's not a bad thing. You kind of need that turnover in things. Like now, the fandom is kind of grinding to a halt for reasons we've discussed, but that's a good thing, because from this will arise the next thing.
There's going to be a period of darkness. Are you familiar with Warhammer 40K at all?
Oh yeah.
The concept is,
I was buying miniatures in '87.
The way I had it explained to me. By the way, shout out for the fine people who do text to speech, Emperor's text to speech, wonderful fucking series. The idea would be that if the Emperor died, things would get better because he'd be able to be reborn, and it would be horrible at first. That's not always the case, man. You never know. People in the pro wrestling community are like, oh, if WWF would just die, it would breathe life, and we'd have the indie scene back. It'd be like the good old days. You don't know that.
I understand that sentiment, but now, the thing I would compare it to is Transformers, because Transformers is one of Hasbro's legacy properties. And like I told you, their usual modus operandi is to run a series for a little while, then rest the series, and then relaunch it as something else. For a while, most of the Transformers series were coming out of Japan, because that's just where it was. And they actively encouraged this. And when the Hub launched, they had their new Transformers series ready, because they had just finished up Transformers the Animated Series, which I loved, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came up with Transformers Prime, which was completely different, completely new look, completely new storyline, everything. And that's the way they did stuff, and that's the way Ponies was. Every iteration of Ponies was mildly interconnected, but they weren't contiguous. So that's why it's like, all right, I've seen a lot of people in the analysis community and just doing all the chin rubbing. It's like, well, why aren't we seeing G5 versions of Celestia and Derpy and stuff? It's like, guys, no, they're not going to be carried over. There's not going to be a G5 version of Dr. Hooves. There's not going to be a G5 version of Starlight Glimmer, because it's like, those are things that were born of G4. They're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
The reason they're only showing you the main six is because it's like they are going to start fresh.
You think? How do you know this isn't going to be like EA? You don't know that.
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, for all we know, this is Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog, if you know anything about the series of games, is just a unending clusterfuck. And it just constantly Sega relaunching it and reimagining it and just doing dumb crap that doesn't pay off, but they're like, well, okay, the next thing will be better, and it isn't. That's why Sonic has not been relevant for decades. And that's the way Ponies is going to be. It's like G5 is going to wipe the slate clean, all new characters, all new situation, and new secondary characters are going to spring from that. It's much in the same way that all of the G3 and G5 3.5 characters did not make the transition into G4. It's like G5's going to be the same way.
Well, I get that too, but my counter argument would have probably been for Hasbro is that they'll probably see that there's super popular characters. There's a board of executives that are looking up and going, maybe keep Trixie, maybe, or depending on where the toy sales go, who's sold?
There is no evidence of that. And again, you'd have to read the leaked emails. It's the main six, and even then, they want to get rid of Applejack, but they can't.
What you're giving me is what I want to believe, but I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm
well,
totally.
Don't be a pussy. Just go read the leaks. It's all there.
Well, I wouldn't consider it necessarily spoilers because, again, a lot of those I'm assuming are subject to change. I did read the show Bible. Like, there was a couple things that did change by the time release happened. So
hell, I watched the leaked episodes. They were fascinating.
Oh, the incomplete ones?
Yeah, the ones without, like, the Foley work and the incidental music and stuff is still interesting.
The way I described it is I was talking to my friend Quillstroke, where she's like, I didn't really like them. I'm like, you went to a candy factory, okay? You took a candy bar before it was done getting all the sugar and the stuff, and you bit into it. It's not a finished product, and now you're upset. That's on you. And I started watching it for 5 to 10 minutes, and there's just, the sound effects, it was missing a lot of things that made it, the complete and the product that you wanted it to be. It just, didn't do anything for me.
No spoilers, but I will say this up front. The Chrysalis episode will make this season worth it.
That was the one I jumped to.
That is going to be the one.
That's the one I jumped straight to, and I made it like 5-10 minutes in, and I was like, it's missing something. It's probably the audio. But yeah, no, we all knew she was coming back.
But it is magnificent.
Yeah. I'm told another big villain's coming back. I don't know if it's already out yet. I'm just going to shut my mouth about it, but he's somebody who came and went. Actually, he is a bit of a spoiler.
If you're talking about one of them, and again, I'll respect the stream and not give a spoiler. The villain you're talking about is not the villain. He's the flunky to the villain.
I'm assuming
a reluctant flunky to the villain.
Is it family that he's flunkying for?
No.
Ooh.
He is a thrall.
That is certainly interesting.
Oh, believe me.
Is that already out? Because I'm way behind.
This is in the leaks, but the episode isn't out.
Ooh.
But it looks like it is going to be worth the wait.
You have hype master right now.
Yeah. Well, it like I say, when they're on their game, they're really on their game. It's just the whole. Well, we did the Academy because we fucking had to do something this season. We've run out of things for the main six to do. And they're certainly never going to repeat episode 100 because that really didn't play well. So
yeah, I do.
Like, okay, fuck it, we'll do this school.
I'm gonna get back to this remark here from the super chat. In before Brony's wail about the loss of Derpy, you'll see it on a cup or something. You'll see some kind of throwback Easter egg somewhere in Gen 5. It won't be what you want. It'll be a little something that people will be like,
well,
yeah.
But what they're overlooking is that Hasbro has a love-hate relationship with Derpy.
Mm-hmm.
They like the money they make off her, but she is radioactive, and they don't want any controversy. That's why these
are big companies. Look, Sean, look at it this way. Everybody accuses YouTube of being super liberal and super, friendly to, blah, 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 social justice warriors. Look at Red YouTube. Look at their fucking show. What is it, Cobra Kai? They're making fun of that shit on YouTube. Money talks. That's the only thing that really matters. They can hate it, but as long as they know what the fuck sells.
Well, but they don't want her in episodes. That was why. I mean, you think back to season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Let me walk you through this. All right. Before the hub is even a network, the pilot episode, the 2-parter, was leaked on the internet, and that's where I saw it. And very early on, everybody noticed Derpy because we were so enjoying this, and there weren't episodes yet. People were in the habit of watching the pilot 2 and 3 times. And so in the proto-fandom, people were noticing this. And then let's see. The hub launched in, October, I think, of 2010. Sometime in November, I wrote to Lauren and actually asked her, it's like, what's the deal with this character, this gray mare with the goofy eyes? What's this all about? And she's like, oh yeah, I don't know the specifics on this. It's like maybe it was the animators fooling around, maybe it was just a mistake. But I have noticed that this little gal is getting some play. And it's like we didn't have anything specific in mind for her. We have a character named Ditsy Doo, which if you want to go ahead and call her that, that's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
But the fans had already decided on Derpy Hooves, so it's like, all right, we're going to roll with that. All right, skip ahead several episodes to Feeling Pinky Keen, where they actually use Derpy. And it's like, unfortunately, that episode, that is a story for another time because it's too long and convoluted. But that
wasn't it the Rainbow Dash one? Because Rainbow Dash is Derpy. Da 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 da.
Oh no! That's the last roundup.
Okay.
Feeling Pinky Keen was controversial for a retarded reason.
No, I know. One sec. I have to get off another super chat here. This is your protege Sam again. I don't like putting friendship in the water. It turns the freaking changelings gay, and it totally did. I despise the new goddamn changelings. I've had people like, are you going to get a candy colored changeling? I'm like, over my dead body, kiss my ass.
Yeah, wouldn't have done that myself, but there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so it was not the fans got really hyped because you got to remember. At this time, Feeling Pinky Keen, I think that was the 13th episode. I'm just doing this on the fly, but it was at a time when we weren't sure if Hasbro was paying attention to us. Now, we already had evidence by that time that Lauren was in the habit of lurking on 4chan.
Mm-hmm.
She was in our threads several times, and it was a running joke.
Yeah, she visited. Everybody knows.
If you went to her DeviantArt page, you could actually ask her questions on the front page, and she wouldn't give spoilers, but she would explain stuff. And on Twitter, I think it was about 2012, she got on an entire thing about how Pegasus turrets float away in the wind.
That's horrifying.
That was a string of tweets where she actually explained why the Earth ponies aren't being rained on by turds. It's like, oh, I'm glad I could help with this. Like, thanks.
I think who was it? It's not AC Race Best, but that other guy. What is the one who hangs out with Paleo? You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
He's on Brony's React all the time. He was a big freaking guy back in the day. Not Jack's Blade, but the other one.
He's a nobody then.
Jesus, yeah, you're probably right, but his whole thing, he did like a Let's React to like reading off one of those green text things where they said, oh, the horses just go when they're walking around.
Well, yeah, they would, but...
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, so Derpy showing up in that episode with Derpy eyes being clumsy in Feeling Pinky Keen, it's like, okay, Hasbro's listening to us, and that was when we had proof that they were paying attention to what we did.
Hmm.
And then in the last roundup, when they actually called her Derpy. And, you know, the controversy with Yamano and everything. At the time, the VA, Tabitha, was not given any specifics. They said, here, voice this mare. And it's like there was no specifics on the character or anything. So she just did a neutral voice. And she said it was a tomboy voice. It wasn't her being retarded. It was just the cadence of her speech.
I thought it was cute.
Oh, yeah. And for a while, Hasbro took that episode out of rotation until they re-looped her voice.
From what I heard, it was I forget the service that complained about it. There's like some kind of
when they were on iTunes.
Yeah, that was it exactly. Bingo, you got it. iTunes is exactly where I heard that was where it wound up getting pushed out supposedly.
However, if you bought the DVD set Friendship Express, that has the original cut on it.
I assume it's not too hard to find.
No, but the thing was, Yamano made a stink, and even after Hasbro looked into it, it was a cautionary thing. Like, fuck. There's not a whole lot to this, but we don't want problems in the future. So that was why from then on, Derpy didn't talk. She just went back to being a background joke until season 3, where they took her out completely. And then after that, it was just back in season 4 for various jokes, but again, never talking. And she didn't speak again until episode 100, which everyone hated.
It had its moments.
Well, no, the problem is
it was crap, though.
What they did was they took all of the characters that essentially, and I'm making air quotes, the fans had created. So it's like, okay, this is...
But from what I heard is that Larson basically had directions, and they jammed him and they ran out of time. And originally there was supposed to be like a changeling swarm at the end of the episode. There was like a lot of things that he couldn't do. So
yeah, but they took all of these characters that the fans had done their art and their cartoons and their fanfic of. Well, once you do it in the show, let us say it becomes canon. So all of a sudden, just with the wave of an arm, all of these fanfics and art and jokes and everything became non-canonical. And that was where the problem was. As long as you left it open for fans to interpret themselves, everybody was happy.
I was about to say something that was going to be really stupid. I was like, well, look at Star Wars. It's doing so good after they made all those books.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you won. Damn it. I was like, I feel like arguing. Nope. As someone else would say, that knob who has to interject even when there's no argument to be made.
Yeah, so that was the problem. You had cute jokes in the Iron Will episode. Fluttershy is in the market. In the background, you see Lyra and Bon Bon meeting together and sharing a drink.
Mm-hmm.
And Bon Bon has brought Lyra her saddlebags. And it's like, okay, we all accepted they were a couple. We all liked the idea of them being gay.
Yeah.
But that's when we did it. But then when Hasbro tries to do their version, it's like, you fucking up our characters.
I love Lyra in 100. That's one of the high points for me. Shit. I was perfectly okay with that. And when they did those little Equestria Girls like shorts where they're basically hinting at it.
Oh yeah. Lauren had intended for Barry Punch to be the town drunk. That was going to be the joke. And in as much as Hasbro would let them get away with it, so you see that in Call of the Cutie and things like that, where she drinks the punch bowl. It's like, that was it. She was going to be the town drunk. But that's a joke you use sparingly. You don't try to explain it. Dr. Who's, okay, the whole thing with the hourglass was to be a boss. That's what that meant. You were a clock watcher.
I've had it explained, basically the fact that he had wings and the fact that he lost the wings. Oh, he can regenerate. It's Dr. Who's.
No. In earlier episodes, like in the Cutie Mark Chronicles, at the Orange's house, at the dinner party, a bunch of the other horses have the hourglass. That means they're bosses. That's what that meant. You were the clock watcher.
Mm-hmm.
You were keeping the roll.
I'll take your word on that, but they sneak in cameos. They had one for the Breaking Bad guy, and they did one for Rick and Morty in one of the more recent episodes.
Even better than that. In the Sweet and Elite,
mm-hmm.
Can you count all of the various Doctor Who's at the dinner party? At the garden party?
I think I've seen an article, but I wouldn't be able to do it without cheating. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all there. Not just Kenneth. It's like Tom Baker is there, John Pertwee is there, Colin Baker is there.
Is that them just rolling with the joke at that point?
Yeah. Because they found out that Tennant really loved the fact that it's like, you got me in this kid show? This is great. He thought it was the greatest thing ever. And BBC was very cool about it. They're like, okay, don't go too far with the joke and we'll let this slide, but, let's kind of respect those trademarks, okay?
No, I've heard BBC is actually pretty remarkable with a lot of YouTube stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Episode to episode, check your, do your own legwork, people.
There was a moment of retardation, I believe, in episode 4, which was, what's it called? It's the one we're introducing Zakora.
Oh, the racist episode?
Yes.
I loved when I watched that because it was the first time where I was like, it's not a utopia. They're dicks.
Um, it was Bridal Gossip.
Yeah, I loved
Okay,
watching that.
the funny thing in Bridal Gossip is...
Black people are moving in. That's what the goddamn moral is.
No. At the time, nobody thought much of that. It's just like, oh, okay, cool, we can have zebras. And so that spawned a bunch more fanfic and fan art and everything. No, the controversial thing that came from that episode in 2010 was a group of pony fans, because remember, they're not called bronies yet, who wanted to ship Spike and Apple Bloom.
Okay.
You go back and check in the fanfic by time, and you will see there was a rash of stories and art and shit shipping Spike and Apple Bloom.
Well, I'm not a fan fiction expert, so I'm not sure what I could have chimed in on that. I didn't know what I was supposed to say.
No, at the time it was weird, and I had some people express frustration about this. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Not to mention the fact that they don't actually interact in the episode. There is no point where
all bronies
Spike
ever
and
need
Apple
to
Bloom
see.
actually talk.
Yeah, bronies will literally like, oh, this person commented over in that comment section. There must be a thing. They're standing together. Isn't that what Bonbon and Lyra? I was like, oh, they're sitting next to each other.
That was Derpy Hooves and Dinky Hooves. It was like, look, there's a little unicorn foal standing next to her. That's her daughter. She's almost the same color. It's like, well, I don't have a problem with this. I think you guys are kind of reading into the information a little.
Well,
this was
that's
based
our
on
special
something.
talent. Go ahead.
This was based on something more retarded than that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to remember, as the fandom is building, it builds by episode. So, as new characters are introduced, that creates interest. And so, Apple Bloom, she was in the pilot, but actually becomes a character in that episode. Okay, so you have interest in Apple Bloom. Well, Spike is about the same size. And literally, that was it. It's like, we need someone else short to hook up with Apple Bloom. How about Spike? Like, guys, no, come on.
Well,
yeah, we wouldn't have other foal characters for, I think, another 7 episodes. So,
okay. Well,
yeah.
Well, here's the question, and I'm going to cite this based off of Latino culture. Cute Senora. Quinceañera is 16. So, am I to assume that the ponies in this, that the CMC are 16?
They have always played fast and loose with that because at first they wanted to believe the main 6 were teenagers, and Lauren.
I've heard on the staff recently. I think when the last time I went to Windy City Con, one of the staff members made the remark: the main 6 are between the ages of 16 to 24.
Well, on the high end, because it's like they all live on their own. Most of them run businesses.
So that means Fluttershy is between the ages of 17 and 24 because she's one above Pinky.
Yes. Yeah. So, let's see. In December of 2010, accidentally, and I mean legitimately accidentally, the Song for Winter wrap-up got leaked. And that was all cute and everything, and we all liked it. It's a good song. But
speak for yourself. Anyways.
But if you see it out of context of the episode, and remember, we hadn't seen the episode and everything that happens in it, because of Twilight's lines in it, the fans became convinced that it's like Twilight loses her ability to use magic. And so there was a panic about that. And then we finally got to see the episode, and that further kind of cemented the Derpy Hooves thing, because the reference to Ditsy Doo, it's like, well, they mean Derpy. So that kind of added energy to that flywheel. And let's see. I guess we'll go ahead and talk about Feeling Pinky Keen. The controversy at the time was, for whatever reason, fans started saying, this episode is about science versus religion. And it's like, even at the time, I was like, no, it's not. Because Twilight is just, it's more a episode about bigotry, which is not what everybody caught at the time, because Feeling Pinky Keen is about Pinky's pinky sense.
No, I've made the argument too, where I'm like, you guys are being dumb if it's about religion. But here's the other thing that makes me think that it might be. When they've asked the was it the writers or something like that, and they're like, is it about religion? No, it's not. So what's it about? We can't tell you.
It's about science versus the paranormal, but the bigotry aspect is the fact that Twilight cannot accept that a mud horse, a lowly earth pony, could have any kind of wild talent.
I think it would have. I think it would have probably have made more. It would have made more sense if, like, I don't know if it were Applejack, but it's not just that. Pinky's insane too. I mean, I could give Twilight some leeway on that.
But the thing, yeah, and the thing is, it's like, okay, I can get behind Twilight becoming fascinated by this and following Pinky to study this, but no, it becomes a rage issue with her. That it's like, okay, Twilight, are you saying that Pinky and all the other
I saw the videos where, like, she's acting like a militant
have
atheist.
assured you, it's like, no, this is legit. We don't have any explanation for it, but it works. Like, that's not possible. It's like, do you honestly think everybody's lying to you?
I don't know. She did seem like she was channeling T.J. Kirk a little
something
bit there.
is outside of her purview. And it's like, okay, that's on you, Twilight. It's like, we asked you to explain this. Nobody demanded you believe it. This was all on you. Now, it can't be about religion because Pinky never attributes a source to this. When asked, it's like Pinky says repeatedly, it's like, I don't know. It just happens. I've never really thought about where it comes from. I only know it works. Not to mention the fact that your gods walk the earth with you.
Yeah.
So it's not a religious thing, and I am surprised that Twilight didn't go to Celestia and ask her about this. Because while she did go through her books, and it's like, well, there's no evidence of this. Like, did you ask the greatest sorcerer you know?
I would argue
that might be a thing to do.
I would argue against that being Celestia.
Well, yeah, but again, that goes to just shitty writing.
That was another thing, actually. That was the season 8 actually defeated fucking one of my head canons, where I was like, you know what? Celestia's talent is being a politician, and she must be really good at. Oh wait, she wasn't able to cut off that one bureaucrat from being a retard. She wasn't even able to try and politically lean in. Hey, you might want to shut up now.
Well, but then you get the rise of Princess Trollestria. Because think about it,
she did do shit up
everything.
She did do shit up in season 7's intro. So yeah, there's a bit of that.
Well, I mean, it really came to the fore in Best Night Ever, where here it is. We're going to have the Grand Galloping Gala. Celestia knows it's going to be a clusterfuck bringing the main 6 in, and yet she does. And she admits, like, oh yeah, I just wanted to shake things up a bit. Because she makes the point that it's like, oh, these are always dull affairs. And it's like, okay, let's consider that. If she looked over all of these upper-class ponies that she has to deal with every day, and it's like, you know what, you guys need to be taken down a peg.
I always looked at that as probably one of the top 3 worst fucking season finals. Was Grand Galloping Gala is retarded. Because the suspension of disbelief is that there's a place that all 6 of these people on the same day are going to fail at. That you need me to believe.
But that was the greater message of that. And that was
I kind of get it, but I'm like looking at the... Yeah.
Well, Lauren specifically wanted to make the point. It's like, have your dreams, but make your dreams realistic. And that was the problem, that all 6 of them had very unrealistic expectations of what Galloping Gala was going to be.
I was about to say, it is sort of unrealistic that fucking Fluttershy wouldn't be able to do that. It's the fact that all of these people completely lost. No, that was a rigged game. You lost because the story is writ that way. I didn't find it believable in the least.
Oh, it doesn't have to be believable.
No, don't get me wrong. I think Pinky would have made that mistake, and her friends might have been dicks enough not to say anything because they were focused on their own thing. Here, okay, there you go. That's divide and conquer.
Twilight thought she would get to spend the evening actually hanging out with Celestia again.
You know where that episode would have. You know where that
Celestia's responsibilities.
You know where that episode would have made a lot more sense. It would have been in a post-Reform Discord where he sets it up, knowing that it's going to suck, and he lures them all to go have a miserable time because he's like, lol, I'm going to be a dick. That's where it would have made sense to me, because it would have been like, he would have cheated things to make sure they failed.
Okay, and that's funny you should mention that, because as you know, what became the premiere of Season 2 was originally supposed to be the finale of the first season, because the time they made it, they thought it was going to be one and done. They had no expectation they were going to get a second season. But Hasbro liked where things were going so much, like, okay, despite the fact that it is very much a season finale, we're going to pretend it's not. So they moved the, Return to Harmony to the beginning of the second season. But because of what you saw Celestia do in Best Night Ever, and then Discord's actions in Return to Harmony, that's where the idea of shipping the two of them began. Is that, okay, early on, and there was a lot of speculation of where Discord came from. The best one being that he was Starswirl the Bearded, that a spell had gone wrong on. But it was heavily implied that he and Celestia had history. In a good way. And why she is like, okay, look, there's a reason I just petrified him rather than sending him to the moon or outright destroying him. And it's like, that's because you had feelings for him. That was the speculation at the time, and if you watch the episodes, again, we can only go off what we are shown. If you watch what we're shown, Celestia is acting like an ex-girlfriend, not like an adversary.
I've certainly seen the shipping thought behind it. I've seen the staff joke about that.
Oh, yeah, and that was the thinking at the time. But again, who really knows?
Yeah.
And again, they were just making it up as they went along. They had not even worked out the continent map or any of that. That didn't roll around till like 2012 with Season 3. That's where that all began to happen. So it was still pretty footloose and fancy-free. But that's why, Season 2 was just such a magnificent season. It's like, you're hard-pressed to find a bad episode in the bunch. I mean, varying degrees, but for the most part, everybody enjoyed all of Season 2, so...
I'd have to pull it up.
Yeah, I know. I had to think long and hard about this, too. It's like,
my friend Dark Edge actually made a chart. What do you call it? One of those grids things. Not a Google thing. I can't think of the damn name. Excel.
Metrics.
Yeah, he did the Excel thing, where he's like, and then rate the episodes. You're gonna hate me up and down. I hate Winter Wrap Up because I hate the song. It gets a 0. Can't stand the song at all. Fucking despise it. It makes my skin crawl. It's just so disgusting. I even hated when Tommy Oliver sang it, Tom. I couldn't stand that shit. Oh, it repulsed me, that 3,000 subscriber thing, and I was like, I'm going to get a real artist to sing a song non-brony related. That was actually the only cool thing I think KP ever did, where she's like, fuck it, I'm going to sing my own goddamn song. That one's dumb. So here, I'll pull up Season 2 MLP. Let's see. If this shit would stop freaking fighting me every step of the way to MLP.
Being old school, of course, I naturally shipped Twilight and Trixie. That is very much an old school thing. That's if you wanted to be edgy. So edgy.
Nice. Okay, that's not it. You know what? Wikipedia, this is shit. This might pull it up. Here we go, Season 2. Shit I didn't like from Season 2. Return of Harmony's fine. Listen Zero's fine. Lunar Eclipse. Cutie Pox, I actually like that one. We had the Pest Pet win. Mysterious Mirror, really? Come on. You gonna tell you got some nostalgia goggles there, my friend. I've heard the arguments. It's not
like not like Lauren actually wrote that episode under a pen name, and it goes back to her vision of what Rainbow Dash was like and how she wanted to treat the characters.
I'm going to quote Digi, the show got better after you left. Anyways, yeah, I've definitely seen the arguments why it's better than it is. And at the end of those videos, the people will say it'll be like, it's still a steaming pile of crap, but it's better than people give it credit for.
It's not a steaming pile of crap. It was a joke. I mean, everything about it was a joke, and yet everybody was just so autistic about it. Like, when did Ponyville ever have a hydroelectric dam? It's like, it's a joke. It's a fucking joke.
It's
the series at that time was all about the funny.
If you like the idiot ball, I'm not going to tell you what's good or not. If you like seeing a character smacked with the stupid stick so that they can wander through 22 minutes of the episode, that's cool. That's just not for me. That's not how they wrote Ninja High either. Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving right along here. Let's see. Sweet and Elite. I loved Sweet and Elite. Secret of My Excess. Go 50-50. Hearthwarming Eve. Loved it. Family Appreciation Day. I actually did never see that one.
The funny thing about Secret of My Excess, the only thing fans complained about is adult Spike didn't look like adult Spike from Call of the Cutie. Cutie Mark.
Yeah, they gave that a cameo later on. Baby Cakes, one for me.
Baby Cakes, well, that again was the staff being a little naughty, because yes, it was heavily implied the cakes were swingers.
They've done jokes like that in other shows before, so.
Mm-hmm.
Super Cider Squeezy.
Okay, my only problem with that is if you actually break it down, Flim and Flam's plan doesn't make any sense. Because they try to strong-arm Sweet Apple Acres, but it's like, if you don't have any apples, your machine is useless.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Applejack was the smart one in that, because she's like, we're holding all the cards. Why are you guys dealing with these two? We can strong-arm them into just making a deal to use our apples for a cut.
It's because Granny got all annoyed and she wanted to prove her way was the better way.
Well, but it would have worked better if the machine had turned out to be a fraud, but it didn't.
And when she took the sip, she's like, uh-oh.
Okay. That's why their scheme didn't work. Like, okay, you understand that if you own Sweet Apple Acres, you actually have to run it because it fulfills an important service to Equestria.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, okay, probably Celestia would step in. It's like, I don't care what a doddering old mare told you. You do not own this farm. Get out of here before I send you to the moon.
That's possible. I mean, but so far I've looked at like 15.
It was a fun episode, but the plot didn't make any sense.
Look, I've looked at fucking 15 of these episodes. 2 to 3, let's say 4 of them. I'm going to say 2 are horrible and 2 are like maybe, But yeah, season 2 is pretty strong. Hearts and Doomsday, liked it. Friend Indeed. You're going to get angry at me. I only like it for the smile song. Pinky is obnoxious as shit.
Yeah, she is a creepy stalker in that. It's like, will you just leave the guy alone?
You can be an obnoxious sack of ADD if you get your friends laid.
He would have eventually stumbled onto his old girlfriend again without your help. Pinky, you're being creepy.
Yeah. Let's see. It's About Time. That's a good one. Dragon Quest. Another good one. Hurricane Fluttershy. I don't really hate Pony Confidential. It's fine. Magical Mystery Express. I haven't seen that. And then there's Canterlot Wedding, which brings us up to let's see. That's a two shit ones, two maybes, and Canterlot Wedding. Do I count it as one or two? Do you count two-parters as one or two?
As one, because they're a contiguous story.
I'll call it it. You know, again, for a guy with a changeling OC, I can't bitch about it too goddamn much.
Yeah.
But, it's a turd.
I love Chrysalis in that. I'll give it to him. Tommy and Digibro did a really good analysis about
Anthony
what
C.
would have made that a better episode.
Yeah, Anthony
and
C.
what would have made more sense.
Yeah.
But again, that was when they started shitting things up with the new Alicorn. And,
yeah.
And if they... my complaints about it are that Celestia just unnecessarily all of a sudden starts treating Twilight like she's a retarded child.
She is kind of being dumb in the episode. I mean,
well, but they could have inserted one scene that would explain why Celestia did not see any of this happening, didn't stumble onto Celeste.
You're going to get annoyed at me again for drawing a cross comparison in the fandom. One person doesn't like somebody that everybody else is supposed to get along with. Hi, me and Toon Critic.
Well,
that's very believable, and you're like, I don't really trust this fucker. You're being a petty dick. That's probably what it looked like. And then you're right. Then you get that sweet, delicious. I knew he was a.
No, the stuff is in the episode, but they didn't explain it well, and that is the fact that Celestia and Luna were distracted by all the mystery attacks on the kingdom. And that was what was keeping her busy, rather, because sure, when Chrysalis reveals herself, Celestia steps up.
Well, you have to play the replace game. What do you take out to show that?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Probably some of the parts of Twilight being a psycho. You see,
or you have him flying around zapping shit in the background. It's like if you squint, you see it, or if you blink, it's gone.
I will admit to being a complete pansy about this. I just could not get past Cadence. I hate characters so much.
You know what? Her anthro fan service form, everything else crap.
Well, that was why I started trolling the fandom pretty early on when that ran, is I started doing all of this fan art of nice Chrysalis. Like, no, she's nice girl. She's not a villain. Look, here she is with her floppy hat, and here she is with ripped blue jeans, and everybody's like, why are you making her nice? Stop it.
Fluffle Mixer started doing that too, kind of, sort of.
Yes, and remember, we all agreed that Shining Armor and Cadence weren't sleeping together before the wedding. That totally didn't happen.
I've definitely seen the people who've made the arguments on the incubation of the baby. So
yeah, well, I was going to say it's like they had to cover that up because child support payments for that many changelings would have bankrupted Equestria.
Well, let's look at it this way. When you talk about that, it wouldn't be the first show you've ever seen Tailspin. It's
oh
yeah, that's a single mom with a kid.
Yep.
I'd never realized that. I was just like, it was one of those things where I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
Because I believe they did go through and say, it's like, no, Rebecca never makes any references to being a widow. So there you go.
Yeah. And that's a Disney card. Well, Disney's usually good for being edgy and, dark and shit like that.
Oh, especially in those days.
I've had people like, what would you think about Disney freaking getting MLP? I was like, we finally get to hear the bodies hit the floor. The Applejack's parents are going to die in an episode. That is going to happen. Okay. Or in a movie.
That was the rumor at the end of season 5.
That Disney
like, okay, Discovery family is getting rid of the hub. They're taking it back over. And there was all these rumors like, okay, Disney and Hasbro have a long working relationship together. And so it would be a natural fit for ponies to not just go to Toon Disney. They were doing so well, this would have gone on the Disney Channel. That's the kind of bank it does. But Disney does not like showing stuff they don't own on the main channel. That's why they have XD and Toon Disney. All right, there's not a lot to back that up, except for a certain little deal that happened, or more correctly, didn't happen. Hasbro was attempting to buy an animation studio at the time. And the deal was almost done when all of a sudden Disney steps up and quashes the deal. And that's what got everybody thinking. It's like, why the hell would Disney shut down Hasbro owning its own animation studio? And that was when it germinated that it's like, okay, they are going to pick up ponies. And, you know, the evidence looked good at the time, but up until the last minute, the absolute fucking last minute, it was unclear whether Discovery Family was going to have ponies or not. And as you see now, that's all they have.
When you mentioned that the toy sales are down, you never know. Hasbro might jettison it off, and some other company might pick it up, which hopefully isn't Network.
What, ponies?
Yeah.
No, ponies is a property they have owned since the 80s. They created it. I mean, they have hundreds.
I know what you're saying. Well,
of
didn't Power Rangers, which how many goddamn freaking seasons of that? Didn't that just get picked up by a new property or some shit like that?
Well, I believe Hasbro bought Saban.
Yeah, that must have been it. Yeah, I think you're right.
But that's a Sentai show. That's a Japanese thing. I mean, you know, that's not quite the same thing. You want to know a real tragedy?
What?
Is because of Power Rangers, everybody wanted in on this action.
Mm-hmm.
And so another company picked up Beetleborgs. Okay?
Shout out to Dark Edge.
Well, essentially what that really means is you rented the suits, and then you got to use all the monster fight footage the Japanese had already filmed. Nobody bothered to save them at the time, but I follow a tokusatsu website that, you know, dubs and subs,
Mm-hmm.
Japanese live action shows. And if you actually watch the actual Beetleborg show, it was leagues better than what we got. And hey, I say this as a guy who likes Flabber. Not gonna lie.
Flabber, what's that?
That was from the American version of Beetleborgs.
I'm out of my depth here.
Oh, believe me.
I was going to ask you something.
People who know the show know what I'm talking about.
Before we get going, do you have any thoughts about the John Cricklefaust drama?
Oh, Crickfalusi?
The guy from Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, that's Crickfalusi.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everybody just calls him John K, because his last name is word salad.
God, it's almost as bad as John Giuseco. I'm sure I fucked that up.
Okay, look. If you worked in comics and animation, you knew John K was always a bit of a creeper. Now, we all knew that he was a bit of a lech, but in the 90s, we'd never heard outright of him actually doing anything. Kind of stalkery, maybe gets in your personal space a little too much, but we hadn't heard of him actually doing anything egregious.
So it's kind of like the Harvey Weinstein where you're like, oh, that guy.
Yeah, it's just everybody is like, that's just John being John. Look, he makes great cartoons. Well, no, okay, we can't use that excuse.
Beautiful.
Look, I'll defend a lot of stuff, but ripping Friends was kind of a breaking point for me.
Fantastic.
You had to go back and actually watch his work on the New Adventures of Mighty Mouse back in the late 80s to know it's like, oh yeah, this guy's going places.
He's worked on some good videos. I don't have the list up in front of me. When I talk to That Creepy Reading, I think you guys would get along famously.
Well, the cartoons are Mighty Mouse, Ren and Stimpy, and then in the 90s, when he got Spumco going, it was a lot of stuff like he did music videos for Tenacious D,
mm-hmm.
did a lot of commercials for Old Navy, and did some music videos for Bjork.
That's out of what's his name's house, if I believe correctly, wasn't it? Spunko Studios. What? It was out of John K's house, wasn't it? Or at least he was. That's where he was walking around inappropriately.
Oh, yeah. And then later, he had a million ideas he wanted to pitch, but he couldn't get them going. But Cartoon Network threw him a bone. It's like, we'll let you do some shorts. So he did Boo Boo Runs Wild and the Ranger Smith cartoon and Flintstones on the Rocks. Mm-hmm. And those were very John Kay-like. The problem with John Kay is he's a guy who knows what he likes and is very good at explaining to you why what he likes is good. But even in his 30s, he was a cranky old man that would chase you off his lawn.
I think he did a movie for Rob Zombie, if you ever saw El Super Beasto.
Mm-hmm. He could not acknowledge that anything that was outside of his comfort zone had any merit. So if it wasn't something he liked, it was complete and utter shit. He was not capable of saying, it's like, well, I haven't watched it or I don't have an opinion. It's like, no, it was bad. If it was not mid-60s Hanna-Barbera, it was bad. And like, all right, John, shut up.
You make him sound like the John Oliver of the animating community.
But the thing is like, he's a craftsman. It's like, when he's good, he's really good. I mean, you look at Ren and Stimpy, and it's like, okay, that was a magnificent cartoon, but it took him forever to do it, and he was shit with schedules. So, I mean, he just did not work well with the system. Then he does a Kickstarter for Cans Without Labels, and he seems to have fucked everybody on that. So, there's just no defending him anymore. Oh, wait a minute. I left one thing out, and you can see the whole thing on YouTube.
Okay.
Very early on, in 2000, I believe, you had various online things trying to do cartoons, one of which was Icebox, which had really good shows like Queer Duck, Hard Drinkin' Lincoln, Navy Bear, but it also had Weekend Pussy Hunt by Spumco. And that was really, really good because it starts off like any retarded Hanna-Barbera animal cartoon, and then quickly devolves into a Get Carter-style crime drama. And it's really entertaining.
Sounds like you have to be high to watch it. Or drunk.
That'll help, but you could be pretty straight and still enjoy it. All right, well, there you go. It's 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, geez. Like, I've been holding it to go to the bathroom for fucking ever. My God.
Real man would have just peed it down his leg.
Oh, or in a bottle. I've heard about Jesse Wood doing that and accidentally picking up the bottle because he's like, I got some beer, lol.
There you go.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. God bless. Thanks for all the money. Let me double check and see that all the super chats are handled. Yep, I got Sam. That was last week.
Yeah, read your super chats, Worski.
I'm not that dumb. Okay.
Oh, do you have a secret plan? You're going to tell us on air?